through the years, rising to finally the rank we call him colonel around here. By the time he was moved on and had served as a tavern owner and a select board member and a very important part of Blandford in the early Blandford history. And we have with us Nicholas Ada, who was the person who was involved. If you hold up that book there, the book that you have, this one here.
Yep.
And this is a book all about early Blandford, and even goes back to the days when Samuel Sloper was here in the very beginning. And Nicholas is the author of the book officially, and is the chair of the Westfield State University's history department, and we're delighted to have him here, and he needs to be recognized as somebody who's put a lot of work into local history in the last few little bit. And put on something.
We've been digging into Samuel. I'll just say one thing on Samuel because Chips has helped me find some stuff on Samuel's interactions with two of Blandford's artisans, so blacksmiths and cobblers. That way we can kind of figure out some little details, which I just overheard you mentioning. So what are the kinds of things that Mr. Sloper was doing here as a consumer in the community, and that consuming gives us a sense of like his household and a bit of a sense of how he was interacting with other Blandford residents as well. Anyway, that's enough.
Thank you so much. Great. All right. Well, hello everyone. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Evan O'Brien. I'm the creative manager at the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum, and it's my privilege to be here with all of you in this beautiful burying ground to honor Samuel Sloper's involvement in the event that came to be known as the Boston Tea Party. Obviously, I'd like to thank the town of Blandford, the Blandford Historical Society, Ships Norcross, everyone that helped make this day possible. Kristen Harris from the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum, our research coordinator, Jonathan Lane, my good friend and colleague from Revolution 250, all the invited guests, members of the DAR present. Thank you so much for being here today, and a great way to kick off a lot of festivities here in Blandford. Obviously, we are working in partnership with Revolution 250 in anticipation of the upcoming 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party next December 16th, 2023. We are kicking off a year's worth of historical commemorations, reenactments, exhibits, speaker series, performances, all leading up to a grand scale reenactment of the Boston Tea Party on December 16th, 2023. And I look forward to seeing all of you there for the big night in Boston next year. Of course, ceremonies such as today's is part of these commemorative efforts, taking a moment to pause and reflect upon those that are tied to an event that would come to define a nation. The Boston Tea Party, of course, took place on December 16th, 1773, and it's an event that is remembered and reenacted, not just here in Massachusetts, but around the world. John Adams would call it the most magnificent movement of all, and even Royal Governor Thomas Hutchinson would call it the boldest stroke yet struck in America. Its principles and values speak through the generations, and of course ideas of protesting against injustice and tyranny are things that we can all relate to even 250 years later. Many of us know the basic facts. The arrival of 3 ships carrying East India Company tea arrive in Boston Harbor between November 28th and December 15th, 1773. Their arrival would kick into high gear a series of town meetings of the body of the people at both Faneuil Hall and the Old South Meeting House. And it is in those buildings where the decision was made. The Sons of Liberty would march down to Griffin's Wharf, take matters into their own hands, and step across the pages of history. While no official count exists, it is believed that well over 100 to about 150 men were involved in the event that would become known as the Boston Tea Party. There's always been an air of mystery and secrecy surrounding those who were involved. After all, in the eyes of the British Crown, this was an act of treason. To make the research more difficult, many participants swore an oath of secrecy, never to reveal the names of anyone assembled on those decks that evening, which of course makes Kristen's job difficult and Jonathan's job difficult as well. But over the years, lists were compiled. And while some held true to those oaths, others clearly did not. And I think the very fact that we're all assembled here today is testament enough to that. Now, Samuel Sloper has a wonderful amount of information that we can share with you today. As Chip said, he was 26 years of age when he participated in the destruction of the tea. His participation is documented in various sources, including the book Defiance of the Patriots by Dr. Benjamin L. Karp, and also he's mentioned in Tea Leaves by Francis Drake. He has been credited with various occupations, including a ship's carpenter, though most records state that he was a merchant and a tavern owner. According to records, he did not initially have a tavern license until about 1778, when he bought the property that included a cider mill from the Blair family in Blandford, Massachusetts. It seems that he held innkeeper and retail licenses prior to 1778, and during the Revolutionary War, he served in the 3rd Massachusetts Regiment. In an excerpt from the book Taverns and Turnpikes of Blandford, 1733 to 1833, by Sumner Gilbert Wood, he describes Sloper by saying, "A more versatile man the town never contained, though he may not have been a man of highest ability and culture, whether in peace or war, in church or in town, in affairs local and in concerns national, he was bustling, breezy, and necessary. He never amassed a fortune, though he handled considerable property. He got himself into hot water more than once, became financially pinched, and was probably too easygoing, too open-hearted, and too much of overmuch keeping and getting. As a landlord, a storekeeper, a soldier, an ecclesiastic, and general factotum, adds immensity and substance to the tone and color of life in our town in the last third of the 18th century. His Revolutionary War record was most honorable and must have stirred the pride of the citizens, who was delighted to promote him to places of honor in peace as well as in war. In intervals of his military service, he would come home, moderate town meeting, serve as a term as selectman, or consult in the interests of his compatriots of the Committee of Inspection and Safety. Then he would don his sword and be off to war again. The volume goes on to describe his life after war, in stating, when the war was over, Colonel Sloper represented his town at the General Court. He was one of the town committee, appointed to review the state constitution when that was before the suffrages of the people, and was a delegate at a county congress. He was also town clerk for a period of years. Quite the biography, of course, and this revolutionary spirit of Samuel Sloper can still be found throughout Blandford and across Massachusetts, as the actions of the Tea Party participant reverberate as strongly today as they did in 1773. The majority of the participants' names are hardly, if ever, mentioned with those we routinely honor during times of historical commemoration, but Samuel Sloper and others like him were just as important to the formative years of our nation as the names we all know: Paul Revere, John Hancock, Samuel Adams, John Adams. They were important to the cause, of course, but so were the likes of Samuel Sloper. Many of the Boston Tea Party participants were common tradesmen, common laborers, coopers, wallpaperers, sailors, ship captains, and many of them were young adults and apprentices. These ordinary citizens did extraordinary things, and they are more than worthy of our recognition. It is our ultimate goal that by the 250th anniversary of the Tea Party, a commemorative marker such as the one we're about to place today will find its resting place at the graves of every known Boston Tea Party participant across the nation. They are buried as far north as the border of Maine and Canada, as far south as Alexandria, Virginia, and as far west as Cincinnati, Ohio. Our hope is that people who stroll through burying grounds like this across the nation will take a moment to pause and reflect upon the brave deeds of those who are inexplicably tied to the formative years of our region and our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evan. Thank you everyone again for coming out today. It's terrific to be out here along the Knox Trail to commemorate the life and participation of this man in the Boston Tea Party. And I just a quick question. He said he was general factotum. Is that a town office? Because, I've heard of hog reeves. And, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Revolution 250, which is a consortium led by the Massachusetts Historical Society of more than 70 organizations across the Commonwealth that are working on the 250th anniversary of the Road to Independence as it played out here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we're all growing, so we're always looking for partners. So reach out to us. There's a lot of work to be done, not just because we have so many what I would call tier one or textbook events. The events we all read about in school, right? It's the Battle of Lexington and Concord. It's the Boston Tea Party. It's the Stamp Act protest that led to the formation of the Sons of Liberty. We're going to do all those. We're going to see all those happen or recreated or commemorated in some fashion. But there's a larger mission to our work, and it plays out in every community across the Commonwealth. I'm sure many of you have heard the quote by John Adams, and we quote John Adams a lot, not just because he was from Massachusetts, but just because he wrote so many darn words down. But anyway, John Adams once said that when he talks about the Revolution, he talks not about the battles of Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill and beyond. He refers to the revolution that took place in the hearts and minds of the people of, well, he specifically focused on Massachusetts long before a drop of blood was spilled at Lexington and Concord. And that's the spirit we hope in this 250th commemoration to capture, to remind the people across Massachusetts that it doesn't matter whether you're from Salem or Plymouth or Great Barrington or Blandford, that the people here had just as much invested in the goings-on for American independence as the people of Boston did. And certainly the people of Boston, in many respects, led the way, being the capital city and being the port city. But if you go through your town records, you will find town meeting votes. Every town, for instance, was asked to vote on the cause of independence months before it passed the Continental Congress. I have a friend who likes to say, you know, independence was decided upon and fought for in Massachusetts, and then everybody went to Philadelphia to fill out the paperwork. And it's a glib statement, but there is some truth to it. And so in Massachusetts, many towns have written into their town records a copy of the Declaration of Independence. Usually it shows up in your town records around July or August of 1776 when printed copies were distributed throughout the Commonwealth. They didn't do that with the Constitution, and they did not do that with the Bill of Rights, but the Declaration of Independence is part of the town records of Massachusetts for all time, and that is a reminder that we need to commemorate the people of Massachusetts throughout this whole period. Not just the people who participated in the grand events, not just the men who marched off to war, but the wives and children and families they left behind who supported the cause of independence with every resource they had to hand. And we also want to remember people who have traditionally been left out of this history. So looking at some of the underrepresented voices, African Americans, indigenous peoples, prisoners of war. Thousands of prisoners of war marched through your town in 1777. They had an impact on your community, I guarantee it. We want to look at the naval story. Again, tends to get short shrift in the history books. So there's a lot of work to do. I'll have assignments for you all by the end of the day. But thank you very much for coming out for this program.
Before we do the actual thing, after this program is over, we have a group that are putting on a tea. I won't say it up at the club. It's a blueberry. We used to have a blueberry bridge for many, many years, and so part of this nostalgic kind of thing is to offer anybody who would like blueberry scones or whatever, and it's all a free thing up at the Blandford Club. They'd love to have you come up there and enjoy that. And also there is an art show going on at the same time, and have a look at that. And anybody who is interested on the way there, who would like to go into the church and have a quick look around there, I'd be glad to open it up and have show it to anybody. So that's all part of the program.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Well, without any further ado, I suppose, I invite our historical interpreter to place the marker.
Well done.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. You should give them a copy of.
I know.